Welcome back to The Edge. Hey, we regularly talk with experts on how to market for different companies, figuring out the right channels and the right message. We've always talked about our clients and how to get them in front of the right customer space. But what happens when you're marketing to other marketers? Your product is a tool that can help digital marketers market to other companies. Marketing for marketers for marketing software from scratch. I mean, that's got to be a pain in the SaaS, right? All this today on The Edge.
Your weekly digital marketing trends with industry trend-setting guests. You're listening and watching Edge of the Web. Winners of Best Podcast from the Content Marketing Institute for 2017. Hear and see more at edgeofthewebradio.com. Now, here's your host, Aaron Sparks.
So we're broadcasting from Edge Media Studios located in downtown Indianapolis, Indiana. Every week we're bringing you the latest marketing trends and the marketing influencers from around the planet, especially in this episode. Check out all the recent shows over at edgeofthewebradio.com, edgeoftheradio.com. We're powered by Site Strategics, your digital marketing pioneers focused on agile digital marketing, which is basically just results-based marketing and continually to be able to adjust and shift based on the data. That's what you're looking from a digital marketing specialist. So if you want to go find out what we do over there, go learn more at sitestrategics.com. I'm your host, Aaron Sparks, CEO of Site Strategics. If you're new to the show, we're blessed to be able to interview some of the top digital marketing minds in the biz. Always a great learning experience for our team here at Site Strategics. In studio with me is Jacob Mann, the studio creative producer. Hello, sir.
Hello. How's it going?
You're sharp on the gun now.
There we go. Just, need a little bit of rest over the weekend.
Oh, good. I hope you're bouncing back, and I hope you're ready for the entire digital marketing week.
Yeah, I think so. I just, Mondays are Mondays, and let's get moving on it.
All right, we're moving. All right, so along with that, let's go ahead and introduce our guest, Tim Soulo, CMO and product advisor of Ahrefs. More, I always trip that up. Ahrefs. Tim, how are you doing, sir?
Hey, Aaron, thanks a lot for having me. And actually, since you said it, I keep thinking about it, pain in the SaaS. It's a very interesting phrase.
All right, so
from you,
you're more than welcome to run with it. Pain in the SaaS. I mean, honestly, marketing for marketing professionals and marketing a marketing tool, right? I mean, that's like inception in like 3 different ways there. So it's got to be difficult, and we're going to be talking about that today on the show. Hey, every show that we start off with, and Tim, thanks for joining us today. Every show we start off with, we roll into some news, and there's so much news happening right now on the not only the SEO front, but the social media front, the digital marketing front. So we try to bring this to our listeners on a regular basis. So you're ready to dive into some news right now?
Of course, yeah.
All right, so without further ado, let's look at today's digital marketing news.
I'm going to do what God put Ron Burgundy on this earth to do. Have salon-quality hair and read the news.
This week's trending topics.
All right, so Tim, I couldn't help notice, but you do have a nice set of hair there, sir. I mean, we were talking before show, and we were wondering, whose do is actually better, because evidently I've been told I got a bit of a frock as well. So it was a bidding war actually here in the studio before the show. So nice do, appreciate it. For those for those of you who are actually listening, I am so sorry. This is completely not in your basket on the audio side of things, but we were talking about that. I just wanted to bring that around on the show. The first news item, as uncomfortable as that segue was, from search engine land. If you're not watching the news right now for SEO, you've got to jump in there, because it's huge. Things are popping all over the place. From search engine land by Barry Schwartz, Google's new snippet settings give webmasters control over their search listings display. So Google has actually released new snippet settings to allow webmasters to control how Google search displays your listings. The company announced on Google Webmasters blog, these settings actually work through a set of robot meta tags and an HTML attribute. Now, If you're not familiar with what these snippets are, you can certainly go check out the link on the show notes here. The new meta tags that they've authored and are allowing for users to be able to use are pretty darn cool, actually. You can actually add 4 meta tags to either an HTML page or specified via the X-Robots tags HTTP header. One is no snippet. This is an old option that has not changed. It lets you specify that you don't want any textual snippet showing for this page. But here's the cool thing here is that there's also another new meta tag that allows you to specify a maximum duration in seconds of an animated video preview. So they're giving us as webmasters the ability to control the aperture of video preview from a page of content that has a video on that in the meta content itself. A max image preview setting is also another new meta tag that allows you to specify a maximum size of image preview to be shown for images on the page, either with none, standard, or large. Those are the basic configurations. There's also one more in there, and this is actually really, really cool. And we were looking at that this last week, is the data-no snippet. But basically is actually giving us the ability to control what content we don't want shown on the SERPs, because obviously in SEO, we all know that meta descriptions are not the regular SERP display. Google actually drops down and is able to unpack a good deal of the content of the site, but you can actually now kind of provision off content that you don't want to have on the SERP. So Tim, I ask you, from an SEO standpoint, are these some of the I should say the newest controls, but these are actually controls that we've never had before from Google? What do you think about what they're giving to us as developers?
Yeah, so this is a very good question, because what do you think would be the rate of adoption of those things? Like, what percentage of the internet is actually following those updates in Google and would start implementing them?
Sure.
And the reason why I'm asking is because it is like obvious that the vast majority of websites, they are doing some very, very basic SEO, and it is usually based on content management systems like WordPress, Drupal, or etc.
Sure.
So it all comes down, basically the adoption probably comes down to what these like big platforms would adopt and give to their customers.
Right.
Otherwise, most people wouldn't just use it, because like it is too hard to keep up. Like Google are adding stuff all the time. So again, back to the recent attributes about nofollow, UGC sponsored. So unless the big platforms will introduce it, I doubt that there would be a lot of adoption. And overall, I would actually love to see, even if like big platforms will start adopting those kinds of things, I'm still wondering if for Google, this is really a way to give people some like ownership of their search results,
right?
Or back to like machine learning and artificial intelligence topics, are they just getting some information from human beings to train how their algorithm is doing those things? And if people are happy like with meta descriptions that are manually edited by website owners versus the stuff that their algorithm was doing. So yeah, for me, it is interesting to know like the level of adoption. Is it enough for them to like for people to control their meta descriptions, or is it just a play to train their algorithm?
That's very, very interesting. I mean, what you're saying is, could this very well just be a nice way to be able to core sample some of the adopters? The adopters are going to be in the less than a percentage rate, especially right now. And yes. I mean, already with the no-follow changes that are out there, you know, the adoption rate is going to be very, very small for the next 5 years. We know that. And this particular control, as much as we as SEOs just want to be giddy because we can actually control the content, is it really going to be a mass appeal? No. So we're basically given controls, and we're kind of the guinea pigs to be able to help share back to Google what we're really interested in from content display. Okay, well, you already triggered my conspiracy theory hat right now. I mean, what are we, like 4 minutes into this? I think you may be right, is that these things are I mean, conversely, the players that actually do adopt these deep core changes are going to have an advantage, right?
Probably yes.
I mean, if you're playing in Google Sandbox, if you're utilizing the tools, especially the newly released tools, at least for a particular period of time, it will be valuable if you're deploying them for your different competitors and I mean, against your different competitors or for your different clients. But yeah, you got me thinking. There is if we're just being tested on as like lab rats, then I'm just going to move on to the next story. From Search Engine Journal, from Matt Southern, Google has released a broad core update algorithm on September 24th. And again, for SEOs, if you don't know it, what in the world are you doing? Because, I mean, they're coming at us fast and furious on a regular basis now. The algorithm, the most recent algorithm update was released September 24th. That was the last core update was actually in June, and I mean, there's a good deal of hubbub about these particular changes. Danny Sullivan actually released an update on Twitter discussing the rollout. He was actually quoted as saying, "I expect it to begin in a few hours, and typically they take a few days." So we're already right now this week in the throes of this algorithm update. There's a good deal of speculation around the fact that this update has to do a lot with links, and links are now being construed and being understood as authority and trust factors, bar none, all working inside of the Quality Raters guideline perspective. Tim, your software literally is a link analysis tool set. Predominantly, and could you give us some thoughts on this? I mean, literally, the data is still out. It's still so fresh that we don't know what's really happening with this algorithm set. But I mean, if it has to do with links, you're the guy to talk to, right?
Well, I'd argue that, but anyway, we are unfortunately not in the business of tracking Google updates. So we're not the company who would have like those like set of websites that we're tracking, and whenever some websites go down or go up, we would go and analyze them.
Sure.
I think in the industry there are enough people, and I think that article mentions a few like different Facebook communities, etc., where people started sharing their websites that were winners and websites that were losers, and they can go and look at the common traits. But then again, in the history of those Google broad updates, I don't think they have ever tried to give SEOs a clue of what update was all about, other than like making search results better. So I think if I had any specific information to share of what this update is all about, it means that Google screwed up with the update. Yeah, I think their goal is to keep the updates, the meat of the updates secret from SEO community, so that SEO community wouldn't abuse them. In terms of value of the links, well, all I can say, like, if we look at the bigger picture, we did some studies and we tried to redo these studies like once in a year or once in 2 years, whenever we have time. And like what we see is that links still work tremendously well. So yeah, I cannot like, I don't think that we can announce starting from this update that links are losing value or links are getting more value. I would say like generally about all Google updates, I would say that with each Google update, things are becoming a little more sophisticated. So this is my general comment on the general update of Google algorithm.
There's like generalities upon generalities there. I wasn't going to hold you to any insider inspection. It's so fresh, but we are seeing from Google a continual drumbeat towards trust and authority, and one of the key factors in the SEO world of authority and trust has to do with inbound links. So we're in another realm of, I mean, Penguin was back in 2012. We're in another realm of real scrutiny on who's actually linking to who. So it's no longer that you're not black hat anymore. This is really new world stuff to be able to understand and scrutinize the inbounds from a whole nother dimension of authority and context. That's what's really interesting to us. I mean, EAT, the expertise, authority, and trust factors are all inside of the link space that you guys accurately report on a regular basis. So
let me give a very short comment, because I think a lot of people who communicate with me online would hate me if I won't say that.
Yeah.
So what follows is not my personal opinion, and definitely not the personal opinion of Ahrefs brand as a whole, but what I saw on some of these groups. So this is opinion of SEO community. A lot of people are not buying the authority and trust thing. So they think it is made up by Google. They think that Google is trying to promote that stuff to make them seem more like sophisticated. And a lot of people just say that if you dig a little bit into it, you'll see all sorts of examples where like you can rank without having any authority and trust. So yeah, like I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here, and like Google is pushing the agenda of authority and trust, but I see a lot of people in the SEO community saying that it is just the agenda, it is not what actually works or doesn't work in Google. So yeah, just playing devil's advocate.
Okay. Tim, I literally actually just want to have a different show just about that. No, that's a great alternative aspect, and we do follow, unfortunately, a good deal of the drumbeat to Google, and I mean we're seeing the quality raters guidelines continually focused on the expertise, authoritativeness, and trust. You're right, is that we do need to have a little bit of counterbalance and understand, is this true, or is this something that we're supposed to all follow because that's where Google wants to lead us? That's a tough call, and I appreciate that perspective, because I hate to say it, you may be familiar with the concept lemmings. We'd hate to be lemmings all following the eat lemming off the cliff, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you're absolutely right. The other article that we were talking about was from Roger Monti over at Search Engine Journal, talking about the winners and losers from the 2019 update. I mean, literally, we're talking a week, guys. But Roger's usually spot on with some good information. His take was literally just that, is that what stood out amongst the publishers who are actually reporting losses of SEO, of rank, all are actually focusing it around attribution towards links. Broad core algorithm update focuses on a wide range of changes. In general, the updates work together to improve relevance, as we're told on a regular basis. Although there's a lot that are actually discussing links. Links are likely just one part of this core update. So let's not go for the Chicken Little aspect of, if your links are problematic, that's probably not the entire core update issue. But at the same time, let's take a pause. We've had this discussion on a regular basis on the Edge, is that SEOs tend to run frantic whenever a core update goes through. Let's hold off our decision making until we really see the data. We're a week into this, folks. We were in this in June, and there was also core updates throughout a good portion of the last year. Relax, just watch the data, and don't run for the hills. All right. So with that, we do want to actually thank Ahrefs as a returning sponsor to Edge. Ahrefs makes competitive analysis easy. Their tools show you how competitors are actually getting traffic from Google and why, so to speak. You can see the pages, the content that send most of the search traffic, find out the exact words they're ranking for, and which backlinks are helping them rank. From there, you can actually replicate or improve their strategies. And we're an avid practitioner of utilizing Ahrefs. It's a fantastic tool from Site Strategics. We always recommend utilizing this as part of your portfolio. And of course, in full disclosure, Tim's the CMO of Ahrefs, but we'd have him on here regardless, because it is a fantastic tool, and these guys are building a strong community in their space. So we want to make sure that you check out Ahrefs. That's Ahrefs.com. Start a free trial today, and you'll swim in great data just like the team over here at Site Strategics. With that, we want to make sure that you join the newsletter, the Edge of the Web newsletter. You can just text to the number 22828, the word Edge Talk, and you sign up right there. You can also go over to edgeofthewebradio.com, and it's right there at the top of the page. Sign up on the newsletter. You'll never be spammed. You'll never get anything but great digital nuggets of gold coming from the Edge of the Web radio team. All right, follow all the featured training topics over at Edge of the Web Radio. But now let's deep dive with this week's featured guest.
Now it's time for Edge of the Web featured interview with Tim Soulo, CMO and product advisor at Ahrefs.
All right, Tim, you got introduced by the deep voice guy. Tim Soulo is the Chief Marketing Officer and Product Advisor at Ahrefs, an industry-leading SEO tool powered by big data. With almost 10 years of practical experience in SEO and digital marketing, Tim actually shares his knowledge by giving live talks at various digital marketing conferences around the world and publishing blog articles on Ahrefs Blog. He's the author of many data-driven SEO research studies and a number of detailed marketing guides. Let me tell you some of the podcasts that Tim's been on. He's been on Marketing Speak, July 17th this year, Nathan Barry's show, May 6th, Smart Passive Income podcast on March 28th, the SaaS podcast, March 20th, Indie Hackers, March this year. Fantastic shows among all these SEO groups and marketing groups. He's also been speaking he's about to speak in PubCon. That's October 7th, Brighton SEO, Search Engine Marketing Summit in Australia, Digital Marketers Australia, Melbourne, Chiang Mai SEO Conference in Thailand. That's just in the last year. Tim, you're a busy man.
Thanks a lot for the introduction. And I think this was the best use of my personal page at ahrefs.com. You've read a lot of the stuff that there. This is the first time someone would do it. So yeah, I'm happy. Like all my efforts in putting out this page and like listing those things there now paid off.
Not a problem. We just want to curate that content for our own use, right? All right, so that's the official bio. Tim, can you give us your backstory and how you got into SEO, especially your role over at Ahrefs?
Yeah, so for the first almost 30 years of my life, I lived in Ukraine. And basically, I started my IT career from working in customer support for a hosting company. Mm-hmm. And then as I realized that I don't want to pursue the career of being a developer, I didn't think that this is my thing. I was looking for other ways to progress, but I wanted to stay in IT. And at the same time, I was a DJ. I was playing regularly in the biggest nightclub of our town. And basically, I started a website and I started putting out my music selections and some random thoughts about music. And I realized that this website is not getting any traffic. So I started digging into how to get traffic to that website. And this is how I stumbled upon SEO. And then a friend suggested me that you should land a job in SEO because he knew some people who are getting some nice money in that industry. And the demand for SEO professionals, at least in our town at that time, and that was more than 10 years ago, was quite decent. So this is how I started. I found a junior SEO role, mm-hmm. and I joined the company to start doing some like basic marketing and SEO for them. This is how I tapped into SEO, and basically I started learning SEO from reading Mo's blog, watching like every Whiteboard Friday. It was actually my treat, and I have tremendous respect for all the work that guys from Moz did over the years, educating so many people. I think a lot of SEOs were born from reading Moz blog and watching Rand's Whiteboard Fridays. So yeah, this is how I tapped into SEO, and then I just started doing a lot of like my own stuff, some of my own projects. I actually wrote a few guest articles for Moz as well. Mm-hmm. And this is how the founder and CEO of Ahrefs noticed me. He saw the work that I was putting out online, and he got in touch with me, and we started working on a freelance basis. But basically, it took him maybe 2 weeks to offer me a full-time position and to bring me to Singapore. And now for 4 years already, I'm living in Singapore because here are the headquarters of Singapore, of Ahrefs here in Singapore. We have headquarters, and like half of our team is here in Singapore, and another half is remote, scattered around the globe.
That's right. We failed to tell our audience that we're 12 hours away. I mean, you're in the future. We're 12 hours away, literally around the planet on this show. So thanks so much for actually joining us. That's a great story. And how long have you been with Ahrefs now?
4.5 years, like more than 4 years already. Yes.
All right. So for everyone who's on the show listening or watching that haven't experienced Ahrefs, and again, full disclosure, you are a podcast sponsor of the show. Appreciate that. Let's talk about the tool here real quick. It's an inbound analysis tool of links and inbound factors. One of the best that roll up to date awareness of the daily links that your domain's getting. It's got site audits, it's got Keyword Explorer, Content Explorer, all these great tools, as well as a really good Chrome extension for being able to analyze the links that you have here. So briefly tell us about the tool itself, and then we want to unpack the concept of marketing for this tool. So roll with it in a 2-minute pitch about Ahrefs.
Yeah, so what we're trying to pursue with Ahrefs is we try to create an ultimate SEO tool. So if you're looking to get traffic from Google or any search engine to that matter, or if you're looking to grow, if you're already getting some traffic but you want to get more, you want people to find you via search engines, we try to provide all the tools and data you need to be successful at it. So this is kind of the core of what we're doing at Ahrefs right now with Ahrefs tools. And yeah, like you said, we have a bunch of tools within Ahrefs toolkit. Predominantly, people are using us to analyze their competition, what pages are bringing them the most traffic from search, what websites are linking to them and therefore boosting their authority or domain rating or domain authority, whatever you call it, how their website is structured, where they're linking out to, etc., etc. But with other tools, for example, Keywords Explorer, it lets you tap into the searches that people are making online. Because if you want people to find you, you first need to create pages on your website that are tailored to specific searches. So we have a tool called Keywords Explorer for that, where you can research if the stuff that you want to write about on your website has any search demand at all. Because if it doesn't, you're not going to get any traffic. Then we have Site Audit tool. This is a classic tool for anyone doing SEO, especially for like as a freelancer for clients, because you do want to analyze their websites, you do want to find technical SEO issues. So we have a tool for that with like over 100 pre-configured SEO issues that we vet your site for. Then we have Content Explorer. That is basically a database of over 1 billion pages with content. It's like a search engine, but for content. Right now, we might expand it and create like a bigger search engine, because right now we have some like rigorous conditions for a page to be added to our database. For example, one of the main criteria is that someone has to share that page on social networks, because if it wasn't shared on social networks, then we think that something is wrong with that content.
There you go.
Yeah, and finally we have Rank Tracker. This is one of the 5 big tools in Ahrefs, and I don't think I need to explain Rank Tracker to SEO people. Actually, you just pick keywords and track their rankings. So that's it. Yeah, that's a very brief overview of what we have in Ahrefs. But like I said, we try to advance all the time. We try to improve the quality, depth, scale of our data, so that our customers would be sure that with us they're getting the best data out of our industry. And we try to like innovate. We try to create the tools that you cannot find anywhere else, that would be helpful for you and that would give you an edge. So yeah, we don't try to become all-in-one toolkit in a sense that we would look for what other tools are doing and we will try to collect all that functionality under Ahrefs.
Right.
What we try to do, we try to come up with unique functionality that only Ahrefs can do because of our unique strengths. Like we have unique data, we have like amazing developers, so we try to squeeze out of our data what no one could do with their like other platforms.
All right, that's a great perspective of what Ahrefs does. We've obviously, like I've said before, we've been a client of Ahrefs for a very long time, and on top of that, we've also been kind of an accumulator of a number of different tools and been watching the entire SaaS tool environment mature. So Ahrefs has been one of the kind of made the grade over time, just like the SEM Rush, just like Cognitive. There's a number of really good aspects, and you really need, as an SEO, to be able to find those key tools that can work together and give you a perspective. There's a lot of tools that have gone to the wayside. There's a lot of SaaS products that try to do certain things and try to market themselves as something more than what they were. And in the marketing SaaS environment, and again, for our listeners, software as a service is SaaS. There's so much noise. There has been so much noise for such a long time of tools and platforms that overpromise and have committed to a heck of a lot of users. We can see this, and this, but the investment that good tools make into their back end, their software, their analysis, their just the level of depth that they can actually analyze content. I mean, there is a separating of the wheat from the chaff, so to speak. But in that noise realm, you still have to market yourself as a platform. You still have to get out there and make the message to that new SEO that doesn't know these top tools or how long Ahrefs has been around. So what you've done in Ahrefs, you've actually done something kind of unique, is that you've built your marketing firm internally from scratch. Now, as opposed to using outside resources, which could actually make sense a lot of times to be able to get to market and be able to utilize other marketing techniques. What are the benefits of growing a marketing firm in-house to be able to market to marketers? That's the unique thing about this, is that you're literally persuading the persuaders, so to speak. So what's the advantage of doing that in-house?
So this is a good question. And first of all, I would like to address the marketing to marketers thing. I actually think that our industry, like creating tools for marketers, is an easier one to do marketing in than any other industry. And the reason why I think so is because marketers are people with websites, marketers are people with audience, marketers are people with influence.
Right.
So I am operating in an industry where we have a ton of websites, a ton of communities, a ton of very active people on Twitter, on Facebook, etc. So if you tap into some other industry, let's say dentists, I don't think like you have websites like inbound.org or growth hackers or so many different podcasts for dentists. So I think the fact that marketers are creating so much content and they are creating so many unique projects, even Product Hunt, that's basically a platform created by marketers and kind of for marketers. Yeah, because people want to discover new tools there, and most of the people that are hanging out on Product Hunt are like in some way marketers. So yeah, I feel that actually to be in the industry of marketing and marketing tools, you have too many opportunities. So it's just a matter of picking the right opportunities, because in other industries, there's a lack of opportunities. And when we do our educational content, we try to kind of distance ourselves from our own industry and the resources we have in that industry, and think about other people who might be operating in different niches, who might not have websites like Product Hunt, Growth Hackers, who might not have an abundance of podcasts to pitch yourself as a guest, etc. So yeah, I do believe that marketing to marketers actually has a ton of opportunities, and you just have to be smart with the way you tap into those opportunities.
Fair enough. Go ahead, keep on going.
In terms of building our marketing team in-house, this is an amazing question, and I actually tried to outsource some things here and there. So, for example, when I took over Ahrefs Blog, my immediate passion, my goal, my aspiration was to make it the best blog in the SEO industry and grow its search traffic to surpass like any other blog. And I started working with freelance writers. And what I realized is they don't have the kind of passion that I had for the blog. They were only there to write an article and get their payment for that article.
Mm-hmm.
Well, most of them, of course, there are people who care about their reputation, who want to put out amazing content. But again, if you are at the level of Mozblog, when you're like the industry's most like sought after blog, and everyone is going to your blog to read the fresh news, fresh tutorials, etc.
Yep.
Yeah, you can attract the best people in the industry because they know they will get exposure in front of the entire industry, and they would try to do a good job. When you're building a blog from the scratch, those like high level people, why would they want to write for you? You won't give them the kind of exposure, even like reputation wise. It's one like 4 years ago. I'm not talking about now. I'm talking about 4 years ago.
Sure.
It's one thing to say that I wrote for Mozblog and I was published at Mozblog, and it would be entirely different thing to say I wrote for Ahrefs Blog, and people would say, really, Ahrefs has a blog? We thought it was just like a tool like for SEOs. So yeah, it was incredibly hard to find people who would do good job, and this is why I realized that I need to try in attracting people in-house, and I would try to find people who are passionate about what they do, and this is how I found Joshua, our head of content. Basically, the story of finding him is that I saw someone tweeting an article with link building strategies, and when I visited the website, I saw that it was a brand new blog with just a single article about link building strategies, but that article was, I think, 60,000 words long.
Whoa.
So it was a massive post. So actually, what Joshua did, he wrote almost an entire article about each of the link building strategies he was discussing. So he had like tutorials there, how to, a lot of links, references. I think he spent around 3 months creating that article.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so there was a ton of work there, ton of passion to the industry.
Absolutely.
I noticed that immediately, so I wrote him a personal email and I said, I don't know like what's your motivation behind creating a brand new blog and like publishing an article on a brand new blog, knowing that it would be hard for you to get traction with a brand new blog. You don't have pre-existing audience. I don't think you have like enough resources. Would you consider doing that for Ahrefs Blog? And whatever you're trying to achieve, are you trying to become a well-known name in the industry? Are you trying to your audience so that to later create an info product for them? Are you trying to just do good work? We will help you with that. Please come to Ahrefs. We'll give you the resources. I like the work you're doing. And Joshua replied, it's nice to hear from you. I'm using Ahrefs, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'm interested to write for you guys. And this is how we started the relationship with Joshua. And from what I can tell, Joshua is purely driven by creating amazing work, by creating articles that would help people. This is what drives him. This is what motivates him. And like it's hard to find that kind of person who would work freelance on you. Right. You have to give them that attachment to a brand. You have to make them sure they are a part of the brand, that they're doing something bigger than themselves, as they say. So this helps tremendously with building in-house teams. And yeah, like I said, I tried on many occasions to use freelancers for doing different things. But what I've noticed is that there is no passion, there's no level responsibility that I need.
Right.
And yeah, they don't care about our brand as much as people who work at Ahrefs, and they don't feel the same connection. So this is why we were trying to build our marketing department in-house.
So what you're talking about here is not just marketing. You're talking about an investment into your culture, into your organization, far surpassing marketing. You're building not only subject matter experts, but you're also building evangelists, people that are wanting to move the brand because it represents not only a tool for the for the ecosystem or for the market, but it also represents a number of people that are very passionate about what they do, right?
Yeah, of course. It's not just about tools. It's about the well, if we're talking about marketing,
Mhm.
marketing is largely, it's either content that that allows people to find you in some way, or advertising.
Right.
And Ahrefs marketing strategy from the start was to do content, to do great content, so we could just reinvest our profits into advertising and buy all the ad space we can, and constantly get people. But what we chose to do is we chose to create what we've chosen, I think, to do is to create amazing content that would let people find us. And yeah, it's I actually think that it's harder to persuade people just from the cold ad,
Yeah.
but it is much easier to give them amazing content, and they would respect you for that, and they would, like, if your content is great, your tools must be great as well.
I mean,
So
you're earning authority. I mean, you're earning value in the space, and that's much more difficult route as opposed to buying a programmatic ad.
yeah, I think that's what Seth Godin described as permission marketing and interruption marketing.
Yeah.
So just before the show, we were kind of making fun of search engine land, that they have not one but two pop-ups when you visit the page. So this is interruption marketing. You kind of come to their blog to read the news they have,
Yep.
and they interrupt your experience by pushing something else that they need to push you. So we don't do that stuff at Ahrefs Blog, because we think that if a person was searching for something in search engine and they landed on our article, we want them to read our article, because
Right.
we invest a lot of time into writing those articles, and we don't want to interrupt their experience with anything. Even we don't want to ask them to subscribe to our email list,
Mhm.
as much as we want them to read the actual article, because the actual article would at some point talk about Ahrefs and the tool we have. So our articles are kind of the sales pitch for our tools, and people are kind of consciously giving us permission to educate them on how Ahrefs can help them. And again, what is interruption marketing? This is like whenever they go to YouTube and they want to watch like their favorite shows, their favorite videos,
Mhm.
and we would interrupt them with pre-rolls and try to push Ahrefs down their throat. Or if they are scrolling their Facebook feed and they want to see what their friends are up to, or what are they like brands and communities they follow are up to, and we squeeze our ads not for our content that might be interesting to them, but for our tool, our brand, to again interrupt their experience and get them to our website. It is not as effective as actually giving people the things they are specifically looking for.
There you are. I mean, and I mean, just to make sure that Search Engine Land knows that we weren't really making fun of them. It was much more of an observation than anything else.
Okay, I can say that I am making fun of them. I have quite a hard opinion about those pop-ups. This is actually part of our kind of company culture.
Yeah.
We don't do it ourselves, so we kind of try to point out whenever people do this.
Yep.
We are not partners of that.
And what you're doing is actually distinguishing a particular separation and a particular mission, and I dare say maybe ethics or a particular way you want to be perceived in the marketplace. And again, you're right. Is that you're marketing to marketers who are, I mean, they know that they know the value. They know they're more believers than anything else if you're trying to actually market outside of a marketing channel of customers. But at the same time, inside of that, you can harm your brand by throwing too much and interrupting too much, as opposed to giving content and giving well thought communication and concepts in all different manners of media, not only blog, but video and podcast and what have you. Got a question for you from a development of your own marketing team. There are certain lessons that are, whenever you take on and build a marketing team from scratch, that you take on that you could avoid if you actually hired outside marketing folk who are maybe more experienced or have gone through the number of lessons to be able to get there. So taking on and investing in a marketing team internally, you're taking on a heck of a lot of lessons to learn and experiments to run, as opposed to trying to streamline it. Well, that said, has development of your own marketing team and the marketing lessons that have kind of crossed over, has that actually affected your product and product delivery? I mean, basically saying these are things that we should have, maybe that we didn't have originally, but you've evolved your product based on the marketing that you're experiencing.
Yeah, 100%. So from the start, as I joined Ahrefs to be their kind of only marketer at the time, they had marketers before me, but when I joined, I was the only marketer, so something didn't work out with others. From the start, I felt that part of my job, and I still has it in my title, CMO and product advisor, I was offering my perspective on what should be in our tools and how our tools should work. And that perspective had two sources. One of the sources was the fact that I was communicating with the community a lot. So I was browsing Reddit, I was joining all the Facebook groups, I was talking to people, having Skype conversations with them, I was talking to our customers, and I was trying to understand, to learn from our customers, to learn from our audience, to learn from SEO community, what kind of things they're doing and what kind of features they need.
There you go.
And I was passing that to our product team. And then, like you said, I was building my own marketing team, and we had our own needs. We understood that it would be awesome to have certain things, and we were in a unique position because when you talk to the community, they have no idea of your data, of what you can do with the data, and of your kind of development resources.
Right.
In our case, because we were frequently talking to developers, we had a decent, I would say, decent understanding of what can potentially be done, or at least we would, whenever we would have some crazy idea, it would like take a minute to come up to one of the developers and ask them if it is even possible to do it. So yeah, from the start, I was offering that kind of feedback to the product team. And what happened from their side is, because they are developers and they know how it all works, and specifically our CEO and founder, who's also a huge contributor to the product. So once the marketing department would share the ideas of what we could add to the tools, they would rework those ideas based on what they know is possible with our data. So it's kind of both of best worlds. So marketing department would offer what makes sense from the marketing perspective, what we see the community is doing, etc., etc., and product development department would offer things that are like possible and ask them, if we do this, does it make sense? And sometimes we would say we have no idea, like what's the use cases of that, how to educate our customers to use it.
Right.
And sometimes we would be totally blown away, like, whoa, we can really do this. Of course, let's do this because it has tons of value. So yeah, absolutely, like being in the trenches, talking to customers makes a lot of input for product team. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listening to the users are one thing, but actually having that deep channel of knowledge and talking right to the developers gives you just that much more quick response back to the consumers, back to the community, that this could very well happen. But along with that comes a good deal of development. Would you actually recommend different marketing SaaS platforms go through this particular process from a marketing standpoint, for an R&D process, a research and development process, maybe more than even a marketing process? If you actually bring in your internalize your marketing, you're listening, you're paying attention to customers, and you're just that much closer to consumers that need your product and will let you know deficiencies in your product. Would you recommend marketing SaaS programs do that regularly?
Of course. I do believe that customer support department, because like I said, I started my IT career from customer support department. They have a ton of insights about your software that you might not know yourself. So having some team meetings where people from the product department and people from customer support department would participate at the same time,
right,
would have a super positive influence on your product. But then again, it depends. Like with Ahrefs, I already went from being a company of 16 people to being a company of more than 50 people. So I've seen how things work at a scale of like 15 people and at a scale of 50 people. And I'm sure that things work differently at a scale of 200 people. I'm not sure if we want to get there. I don't think we aren't, because Dmitry wants to keep the company small in terms of headcount. But yeah, like when you're small, it feels like you have those insights by default because each of the team members is wearing many hats. And like I said, even though I joined as a marketer, I was doing a lot of customer support because I just genuinely wanted to understand our customers and our community better, and I was giving that product feedback. Right now, as we're growing, we need to make those meetings more kind of formal. So we need to specifically meet with heads of different departments and discuss those things. And as the company grows bigger and customer support department gets more and more detached from the product department. This is what happened to me back when I was starting my IT career. I was working in customer support, and I had a lot of what I think great. They might not necessarily be great, but I think I had a lot of ideas of what we can do to improve our product, but I didn't have any channel to bring those ideas in front of the people who were working on the product. And I feel the problem of every big company that has 200, 300 plus people. So if you're in charge of such a company, take a look at how your customer support department talks to and marketing department talks to your product department, and see if you can improve that communication.
So it's a feedback loop, and if you're a smart marketer inside of a marketing technology SaaS environment, it's a great listening feature to be able to invest in that and be able to see what your product needs and what the efficiencies are, to be able to funnel that right back into the product. So it's a great 360 or a great feedback loop. Now, let me ask you something more about the consumer that you're marketing to, because your particular software has to, and I'm going to be careful here, but it actually is, I could be wrong here, but the consumer that you're trying to reach inside of SEO, inside of marketing, is analyst mindset. They are much more data oriented than would be a different type of digital marketer that would be much more engagement oriented or social media oriented. Your content, I mean, your product is a particular scientific methodology resource, as opposed to other types of digital marketing tools, which are much more maybe listening tools in the social media front, or content focused. I mean, your consumer, your marketer that you're trying to get to is a different breed, for lack of a different description. These are deep diving tool sets, not for the timid or the undisciplined in data. So you're trying to reach users and marketers that may not actually be conventionally reachable by social media, by more fluffy type of content. You've got to roll out content that is definitive, is factual. It's not, you can't half cook a concept. You're reaching your consumers, as I understand them, are a good deal more serious than maybe other digital marketers. And maybe I'm extending myself a little bit too much, but is that part of your understanding of your digital marketers, that they are a good deal more data driven?
No.
Oh, I'm completely outside. All right, so tell me your consumers. Who are you marketing to?
So generally, we try to describe our consumers, like I said, is as anyone who understands they want to get traffic from search.
Okay.
So if you create a website, you put out some pages there. For example, you're a small business and you have a website about your coffee shop or whatever, and you have a few pages about the types of coffee you sell, or like services, coffee delivery in your area, etc.
Okay.
And then you try to search for yourself in Google and you don't find yourself. This is when you realize you have to understand how it is done. And you're absolutely right in the sense that Ahrefs has a lot of data that you need to analyze, that you need to understand. This is true. And whenever a newbie like that, a person who just created their website and they want to tap into SEO, they would open Ahrefs, they would probably get overwhelmed, intimidated by the amount of data that we give them. And they would just close it and try to hire a freelancer or like an agency to do it for them because it is just so overwhelming.
Okay.
And that is the reason why we were and are creating so much content, because essentially the basics of SEO, I'm not talking about doing SEO for websites like Amazon.com or Booking.com,
Sure.
or rolling out like networks of sites and how they like work together, etc., etc. I'm talking about doing SEO for your own website, and the basics, the fundamentals of SEO are super simple, because checking if a keyword gets a certain amount of searching per month, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand that, okay, this keyword only is being searched only 20 times per month.
Right.
So like no demand for this stuff. And this keyword is getting like 200,000 searches per month. So this is a hot topic and people are searching for it. And so, yeah, those things are very basic. And other than creating tools for SEO professionals or for people who want to grow their traffic from search, we are creating a lot of content that we try to make sure is accessible. So our goal, and the other day I was talking to Joshua, our head of content, our head of blog, and he said that in his own experience of learning about SEO, he was reading a lot of articles that were intimidating. So once he starts reading an article, it would have a lot of like SEO terminology. It would reference a lot of Google updates or things that they're doing. And it is hard to read for a newbie. So with our content, what we're trying to do, we try to make sure that the content is more or less accessible for people who have no previous experience in SEO. So every individual article that we write, we try to make it simple for them. And we also have a YouTube channel with a lot of tutorials where we actually would walk people through step by step, like with screencasts of where to find what, how to work with this data, how to understand this data, etc. So, and as far as I can see, our growth numbers, how many customers we're adding, how fast we're growing year over year, it pays off, because with the vast majority of tools in our space, in the SEO space, be it outreach tools, be it like analysis tools, be it rank trackers, etc., I do believe that we're the tool with the most educational materials for our tool. So yeah, and I think we are now in the process of revamping our homepage. We didn't take a look at it for like 3 years or something, and I feel that the abundance of educational materials and the amount of education that we provide our customers with, we want to put it like almost front and center on our homepage, so that people that are visiting Ahrefs homepage would understand that Ahrefs is no longer just a set of SEO tools. Also an educational resource, and we give out our education for free. Why we make you pay for the tools? So yeah, this is why we put so much effort into education, because I believe that the fundamentals are simple and people can get a lot of great results with just those fundamentals.
All right, folks, I did not tee that up to Tim, and honestly, I was actually of the belief that the consumers, the customers of Ahrefs are a good deal more dialed in because of just the complexity of the tool and the data that's there. But you're doing something actually even further. You are moving content out into that buyer's journey mindset we always talk about: awareness, consideration, decision. You're actually taking on not just a marketing role, meeting an SEO professional where they're evaluating tools. They've already been a seasoned developer. You're actually reaching out there a good deal further out to help educate and kind of reset and calm people down in the SEO as they're trying to understand SEO. What you're saying is your content is developed in such a manner to be able to extend more like an educational bridge out there, as opposed to meeting deep professionals inside of SEO that are looking at how best you are updating your database on an hourly increment, right?
Yes, exactly.
Huh.
You've explained it perfectly. Yes.
All right. Well, I stand corrected, because I mean I'm a geek. I'm absolutely going to, and I love Ahrefs because, I mean, and the number of tools that we look at SEMrush, we look at Cognitive, we use all of them in particular perspectives because of the rich tapestry and the rich data. But you know, you have to be able to connect to that audience member, that business owner that doesn't know where to go, because there are so many confusing on-ramps or confusing access points to start in SEO. So that's even more of a challenge from a marketing standpoint, because you have to not just talk to one group, you got to go out there and be able to connect where their education is just starting. So kudos to you for that. But my gosh, that kind of almost triples the amount of workload to create content for meeting those different spaces. Yeah?
Yeah, and on our blog, we're addressing a lot of very kind of newbie kind of topics.
Mm-hmm.
So people are searching for literally SEO basics.
Yep.
And we literally have an article with SEO basics, with the basics of SEO. And we want to rank for that. We want to collect that search traffic. And we do understand that the odds of a person converting from the SEO basics article to a software like Ahrefs, which you mentioned is rich on data, it is rich on features, and is like overwhelming to a newcomer,
Mm-hmm.
the odds are quite low. But as you just said, there's a buyer's journey. So people would learn from us about the basics of SEO, and we would already try to squeeze in that article some use cases of Ahrefs to show them the basic, like you're looking for SEO basics, here are the basic use cases of Ahrefs that you can like do right now. And yeah, then they would search for something else. For example, they would search for keyword difficulty. They would hear the term from someone. They would want to research that. And we have an article about keyword difficulty. So they would read like our vision, our explanation of keyword difficulty. And again, we would explain our data. We would show the use cases of Ahrefs. We would show our interface. So they would start to be educated on our toolset more and more. And eventually, as they go deeper down in their buyer's journey and learn more from us, they would choose our software because they understand it the best.
Very good. You also have another challenge, just briefly, is that you have to be continually building your subject matter experts in-house as well, because you're not only marketing to individuals that are experiencing the on-ramp, but you have to be continually talking truth into a space that has a lot of stigma to it, from black hat work and shadiness inside of the SEO realm. So on top of everything else, that you also have to make sure that the people that are talking on behalf of you are also top experts. So how do you briefly, how do you continue that education internally, as well as attract more and more subject matter experts to come on board the Ahrefs brand?
So first of all, we're not very big on hiring. Like I said, Dmitry wants to keep the company small and lean, because the more people you have, the less effective it gets.
Yep.
Because you need a lot of communication, you need a lot of team meetings, etc., and it takes away time from actually doing stuff and building things. So we're not very big on hiring. But yeah, whenever we bring people on board, we need like a higher level marketers, like more experienced marketers than your general marketer. Because like you said, we like a lot of the content we create, like the bigger part is still the content that we create for newbies, because we want to attract anyone who is interested in growing search traffic to their website.
Right.
But on the other hand, we also need to create a reputation within industry, because other than our own blog and our own channels, like I said, marketing industry is full of people who have audience, is full of websites, podcasts, etc., that have audience. And we need to have reputation there, because we need those people to talk about us. And for those people to talk about us, we have to create kind of edgy things, like to be on the edge of the web, right?
See, he said it right there. Very good.
Yeah, this is why we like the top marketing people that I have in my team are actually the practitioners themselves.
Mhm.
And they still, other than working at Ahrefs, they still are having some side projects, or they're deep in the community talking to other people to continuously stay on the edge of things and be able to produce content that would impress other people. Because if you're only rehearsing what other people say,
Yep.
won't have respect in the industry. But if you're doing, this is why we have done so many research studies with our own data, because we feel it is our unique competitive edge. We are, at the end of the day, we are the only ones who has our data. So we are the only ones who can tap into it at scale. We have API, of course, but you cannot do with our API the things that you can do if you have actual access to everything. So this is why we invested quite a lot of effort into releasing many studies based on our data. And if you go to Ahrefs and if you put ahrefs.com there and see our most linked pages, a lot of them are those SEO studies, data-driven SEO studies. So we got reputation in the industry by tapping into our own data and by releasing unique things, not just rehearsing what other people say. So yeah, you're completely correct. Marketing to marketers, building reputation, you have to be one step ahead of everyone, or there would be no respect for you.
So that's a whole other this space right there. Is you have to keep on investing in that talent and that expertise, and you can't not continue to practice. And that's what's actually unique in a lot of respects, is that we're seeing tools now and communities that are actually are giving back to their communities. These brands that are truly coming from such a level of knowledge. I mean, it's really impressive. It really is, with these tools, to be able to see a groundswell of subject matter experts in these brands. Tim, we could talk for days. We really could. But we do need to wrap up. I certainly would have loved to be able to have you back on this show and talk about what you guys are doing in your particular unique terrain of marketing to marketers, marketing to new SEO experiencers, as well as keeping your powder dry, so to speak, with constant expertise. I mean, that's a threefold endeavor right there that is very important to focus on. But I do want to swing around as we finish up the show and ask you quickly, what bugs you about your industry right now?
What is bugging me the most is the dominance of Google, I think. How dominant of a force they are. And we're discussing those news, like we have to follow all their updates, we have to know what kind of new technical things they are releasing and to adopt those things. But the most of all, the way they kind of take traffic away from websites with the content that they display right in their search results.
Right.
Because a lot of people spend I don't know, years and years of their life to create useful things to be able to get traffic from Google. And then Google basically takes those things from them, adds them to their database, and start displaying them in the search results without letting people go to the websites of people who created those things. So yeah, and actually 2 weeks ago, I started using DuckDuckGo as my primary search engine.
Yeah.
And actually, the first thing is I realized is how useful and how convenient it is for users of search engine to see those answers instantly. So I do agree that Google is doing a very good thing for its users, that they're displaying a lot of information right in the search results. It saves so much time. You don't have to click on the pages and look where is the text on the article.
Right.
But then it is absolutely unfair to all the people who are creating that content. So Google has to find a way to give back to those people. Then we will like Google a lot more. But right now, yes, it is incredibly useful. I felt it as I started using DuckDuckGo. All those instant answers, all those things that Google is displaying in their search results, it is absolutely useful. I feel that with DuckDuckGo, I'm a little bit less productive than I'm with Google. But Google, please find a way to give back to the people who are feeding your database. And yeah, a little teaser, maybe you've heard about it, maybe not. Our CEO and founder announced that we are working on our own search engine, and we want to create a search engine which would share profit with the content producers.
That's right.
So that people who are feeding information to search engine would get compensated for that. And soon we're actually publishing some official articles on Medium about our vision for that. So yeah, I hope that viewers of your show and listeners of your show will get that content in front of them, and they will read our articles and they will spread the idea. Because yeah, if Google does figure out the way to give back to content producers, we won't have to build our own search engine, because the essential goal is to create a more fair internet. Yeah.
No, actually, we reported on that, I think 3 months ago, whenever the first information came out regarding what you guys are doing over there, and we're wrapped with attention to see what rolls out. So let us know whenever we can talk about that as an alternative search engine, because that's a big undertaking. Yeah, we understand what more than most what that entails. Certainly appreciate the time and. The last thing I gotta throw out here is you shared with us a little bit of a fun fact for you. You're a Magic the Gathering geek.
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to put you on the test here. What is a Ulamog? Do you know what an Ulamog is? No,
Ulamog?
Ulamog, yeah.
Oh, I think I'm not that geeky.
Ah, see. Oh man.
No, I mean, I'm a huge fan of the game.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it is very time consuming.
I know.
So to be like in the know of everything that they release, because they regularly release new sets and such, it is very time consuming, and unfortunately, I don't have time for this. But I have a collection of dragons, dragon cards.
All right.
And I think I collected almost all the kind of dragon types that there are in Magic today. So yeah, I'm kind of proud of that little collection.
Very good, very good. And sorry to spring it on you. I literally had to ask my 19-year-old son. I gotta ask Tim.
Those are different weight classes. Wait, your son and me, those are different weight classes.
So just for everybody listening, it's a being from space between planes and dimensions that feeds off mana.
Oh,
so there we go. So he rolled that one out, and I was like, hey, I gotta have something for the guy. So no, that's actually an interesting marketing gimmick itself, because every 6 months they roll out a new set, and you can, if you're professional, quote unquote, you've got to use that set to be tournament worthy. Every 6 months, you can't use the old sets anymore. You talk about a game there that's a moneymaker.
It's like a SaaS subscription.
All right.
So you can't even like use a combination, like you have to go all new. Wow.
All new. I mean, you can still play, but you can't play and rank professionally in the tournaments without that fresh new pack.
That's crazy. I haven't played since 1995.
Yeah. No, it's awesome, and honestly, it can turn people off because they have to reinvest each time. But what a great gimmick. All right, what we do want to promote for Tim is his new YouTube series. You can go check it out on YouTube. Second show, number of cool things he rolled out regarding the new font for Ahrefs. And I'm going to have to ask for a t-shirt, because that's too cool of a font shirt. There it is right there. Look at that. That's awesome. It's an awesome font too. And there's a number of things he was talking about, especially doing 20 podcasts in 4 months. Fantastic. And we're actually not even in that basket, are we? So along with a number of things, so check out what he's talking about. It's actually very well produced, and congrats on that, because you're doing a heck of a lot of neat animations that keep the audience entertained. So keep on investing in that. We need that type of conversation regularly in the biz. Is there anything else that we can actually promote for you today?
Maybe our primary YouTube channel. So if anyone, well, I doubt that this is the case, but if anyone in your audience is new to SEO, they might want to check out Ahrefs on YouTube. We have a lot of amazing tutorials. And actually for a lot of people who are already familiar, who are seasoned SEO specialists, I'm sure we have like a bunch of tutorials that would show you, that would show you how to do things differently and maybe more effectively. So yeah, check out Ahrefs on YouTube.
Very good, very good. Well, we certainly want to let our audience know where to find Tim. You can find him on Twitter at Tim Soulo, and that's Soulo. On Facebook, Tim Soulo. LinkedIn, Tim Soulo, and Instagram, Tim Soulo. So even if that's a pen name, you got all the socials covered. Any last final thoughts for that new SEO marketer that is trying to find their way into this mess?
Study the basics. The basics can get you very far. You don't have to be like amazing technical SEO to get traffic from Google or other search engine. Study the basics. The basics are very simple, and you will start seeing how your traffic is growing.
There it is. There it is. Well, thank you very much for your time today, Tim, and thanks for getting up bright and early in Singapore to talk to Edge of the Web. We really appreciate your time, especially appreciate the insight from a marketing to marketers concept, because that can be very easy but also challenging, especially in this analytical market that we're in. So again, thank you so much for your time today, Tim.
Thanks a lot for inviting me.
You're more than welcome, more than welcome. Well, thanks for listening to Edge of the Web Radio. Special thank you to our colleagues at Site Strategics for always putting on a great production before, during, and after this show. Make sure that you rate us, and hey, if you're interested in what we're doing on YouTube, because we're going to be going live on YouTube regularly, smash that bell. Let us know that you want to get notified. We're going to bring you great content on a regular basis. Special thank you to our guest, Tim Soulo. And make sure you check out all the must-see videos over at edgeofthewebradio.com, and all the insider information is over there. Join the newsletter, and let us know how you want to be delivered that content. If we're not on a podcast aggregator near you, let us know. We'll get our RSS feed there. From all of us over at Site Strategics and Edge of the Web Radio, thank you so much. Do not be a piece of cyber driftwood. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.